I believe everybody's ready, but the clock's not. There we go. I'd call this meeting the Columbia County Board of Commissioners to order for this Tuesday, January the 17th, 2017. This time I'd like to call on our Commissioner for Representative, Mr. Bill Morris, for our invocation.
Father, we come to you tonight with challenges all. Love that we can
Yes, sir. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a quorum tonight with all 5 commissioners present. First order of business, as usual, is the approval of the minutes of our previous meetings. First order of business is the commission meeting of January the 3rd. You're satisfied? January the 3rd, 3017. I don't know what that means. It's close enough, though.
Yeah.
100 years, hey?
If you're satisfied with their content, we'll accept a motion for their approval. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. And also the executive session minutes of that same date, January the 3rd.
So moved.
Discussion, all in favor? Johnson, any additions to the agenda other than some people requesting to speak on a particular item?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman. I believe it's ready for your approval.
We will add those under presentations, the G2B. Again, I want to welcome each of you to this meeting of the commission and remind you, as always, these proceedings are videotaped. If you'd like a copy of that disc, you can obtain one through making requests through our county clerk here, Ms. Crawley, and also that they'll be on the county website in 2 or 3 days, and you can view the content of the meeting there. Remind you, too, that you're invited to speak to this body. If you're not already on the agenda, we do ask that you fill out a speaker form in the back, bring it up to Ms. Crawley, and we'll recognize you at the proper time during the meeting. Our first presentation tonight is involving Easter seals from East Georgia, Ms. Jennifer Jenkins. Welcome to the meeting of the commission.
Oh, is this? Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to take up a few minutes of your time. My name is Jennifer Jenkins. I work with Easter Seals here in the local area. We are in Augusta off of Wrightsville Road, but we service the Columbia County area. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do and what we need from you guys, okay? So what we do, Easter Seals East Georgia provides training, opportunity, and support to our local special needs community members, assisting them as they work to meet their personal employment goals. So we do a lot of work-ready training. We provide opportunities within the community in addition to job placement to support. Mostly my clients are transitioning out of high school. So they're coming out of the special needs programs in Columbia County high schools, and they're looking to go to work. How it works, so I just have like a gear set up here. You see support, opportunity, and training, because everything works together to get the client absolutely ready to be successful in the workplace. I'm going to go through just a few of the things that we do on the training side. There's classroom curriculum. We do one-on-one, so I will meet clients at Starbucks, all throughout the community here locally. We have a lot of friendly places to meet to do job readiness curriculum. That gets them a resume and all the things that they need to get them ready to really promote themselves on a profile aspect. personal social adjustment training. So if you're familiar with our special needs programming in the county, we have a lot of excellent things in the community for clients with Asperger's and autism. A lot of my clients are on the spectrum. So we also look at a lot of the things that they need specifically, really specific to their disability to make them successful in the workplace also. We do some work evaluations in the community. Columbia County Recreation Department has been an awesome partner with us. Dennis Hodges over at Patriots Park has worked with us previously, along with some small businesses here in the county, along with some job sampling. So we are in some of the county's businesses operations every single day, having our clients train. Opportunity, we do some community-based work where we partner with community partners or community businesses, and we put these young people in jobs to train. So we take away them having to meet performance expectations from day one, and we put them in a job setting where we work alongside them for them to learn their job and be successful. For example, I have Alyssa Mazarant, who's from Harlem. She's working at the Dollar General. She earned that job after 3 weeks of training alongside me. I also have Jordan Garza, who's at the Zaxby's on Williams View, right across from Greenbrier, which he graduated from and frequented as a patron. And he works there, and he earned his job very quickly also after training for a week and just working through some of the quirks of his disability. And so you'll see at the bottom the support, the job coaching. They're not thrown into a position alone. We have a lot of job coaches that go in and will work whatever the job is to help them to learn and transition. What we need, so with special needs services, in 2017, we are changing the model. Typically, we are training the client and the family on how to work within the community. And what we are now doing is really focusing on training the community to help our clients. We do a lot of things where we are pressuring special needs families to be ready for a lot of things that are going to come with putting your child into a school setting or putting your loved one into an employment opportunity. But we are now educating the community on what special needs services are, what Asperger's looks like, what autism looks like, what Down syndrome looks like, because the more educated people are, the better they are with accommodating disabilities. So that's a little bit of the model, and that's why I'm here today, so just simply to educate and to promote some of the language that we have. And I've learned from giving these presentations that you're brief and you leave them with something personal. So I'm going to introduce you guys very quickly to Robbie Ripke, who was an Evans High School graduate of 2015, one of my clients right now, who was homecoming king at Evans. He works 2 jobs, one at Putt Putt and one at T-Bones of Evans. He's a public speaker on Down syndrome. He successfully completed all of our job readiness training, highly motivated and ready to work in this community. When I met this kid, he wants a job in Evans. He wants to be here in Columbia County. So our employment goal is to secure a part-time position in the Evans area within a stable and supportive workplace that will allow him to learn and grow as a professional. So I'll leave you with that because these clients that I have, they're leaving a very rewarding high school experience in Columbia County. I have clients from a lot of different counties. Overwhelmingly, they're having a great experience in our Evans, Harlem, Martinez communities. But then they graduate in social media. They see all of their friends on Facebook. They're in college, they're working, and now they're buying for a chance to be something also. So I just leave you with that personal bullet, and then do you guys have anything to add? Because they came tonight. I have his mom here who's very active in the community also as I end. Graduated in their jobs in the community. Having to rely on, I've lived here my entire life. What I've found is
Well, thank both of you. You know what good work Easter Seals does. We remember the years of Avis Ballou, a good friend when he was director there. Any comments or questions for this lady? Before we get into the presentations concerning speed humps, I'd like to get our division, Associate Administrator to give us a little update on the speed hump program, how it is determined, what it takes to get one started, before we get to the individual speakers.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So our speed hump policy requires a request from a property owner along the road in question. So in this case, Con Drive. We received a request from a property owner to do a study. We do a 24-hour study. We go out and put speed counters on the road. We get the results from that study. We determine if it meets the criteria to bring forward to commission. That criteria says that the 85th percentile speed needs to be 10 miles per hour or greater. That means that 85% of the vehicles are doing 35 or under, which means 15% are doing 35 or higher. Little confusing, can be a little backwards, I'm thinking. That 85th percentile speed is what is used to determine speed limits on roads as well. If it does meet the criteria, we then do public notification. We let the residents know that it's going to be coming before the commission to be decided upon, and that's where we are here tonight. So we have done the study. It met the requirements for speed humps. There's also a requirement on length of road. There's a requirement for number of vehicles on the road, and in this case, Con Drive met all those.
Tell us about the normal spacing, and is it typical throughout, or what determines the spacing?
They look at the geometry of the road. You talk about the spacing of the speed humps.
Yeah.
Look at the geometry of the road. You try to space them properly. If you put them too far apart, people will actually increase their speed between them to try to make up the time they feel they lost going over the speed hump. You avoid curves. People are going to slow down through the curves anyway. So you kind of look at your best placement to get the best results. If you put them too close, they make traffic come to a crawl almost. So you don't want to do that. You want to space them so that you can maintain a 25-mile-an-hour speed down the road, which is what the actual speed limit of the road is. We do have a standard form we use for those speed humps. So every speed hump is going to be built with the same form, designed to take an average vehicle can go across it doing 20, 25 miles an hour and not tear the car up, not feel uncomfortable to the occupants. You start exceeding 25 miles an hour, you're going to feel discomfort. That's the whole point of having the speed table. We say speed hump. This is a speed table, about a 10-foot ramp, 10-foot flat, 10-foot ramp down, not a Lowe's parking lot speed bump that'll tear your transmission out. So.
Now, this posted speed limit there is 25 mile an hour?
25 mile an hour. That's a standard residential speed limit in Columbia County.
Give us the extremes on this particular study.
This one was rough, Mr. Chairman. Our 85th percentile speed came out to be 54 miles an hour. One of the highest I've ever seen. Usually we see them around 37, 38. Commission meeting. Sorry? 36, 37 miles an hour is a good 85th percentile speed. We typically see this one's 54.
And it's a 24-hour study?
It's a 24-hour study. It was done in December on the 13th. So we started counting at midnight and counted all the way through midnight again, so 24 hours. We actually had vehicles exceeding 75 miles an hour on this road. Of course, we know that is occurring between the hard curve and Mulligan Road on that long straightaway, but near the school. But we had 25 vehicles exceeding the 75 mile an hour speed. Also, we had our average speed was 36 miles an hour. So we're 11 miles an hour. The speed limit was the average speed along the road. It was pretty bad results.
Thank you. Recognize now Mr. Abu Khan. And would each of you come and give us your name and address, please?
Abu Khan, 1085 Khan Drive. I'm opposed to the spacing of and the number of speed bumps that are there. I feel there's just way too many. I'm glad to hear it's going to be the longer speed bumps. I was concerned it was going to be the short speed bumps like we have at the library, so that question is answered. But two other things I have is the number of vehicles in our neighborhood is due to the rerouting of the school traffic. We really feel it's a dangerous situation where fire trucks and ambulances could not get by during the morning school start time and the ending of the school. I think that That's contributed to the speed and everything that you see there. The other thing is our neighborhood is complete now. All the homes are built, with the exception of one that caught fire and is being rebuilt. And the roads, we feel, really need to be paved. There's a lot of dips, a lot of potholes and things like that in our neighborhood that need to be addressed.
Thank you. Excuse me, any questions of Mr. Khan? Okay. The second one to make a request, Sean White.
Gentlemen, my name's Sean White. I'm at 2012 Sumter Landing Circle. To be honest, I'm for the speed humps down Con Drive, down the actual neighborhood section. There's a lot of younger teenagers that do have a habit of going fast down the road. However, I feel that we're doing a disservice to the taxpayer putting speed humps in without addressing the condition of the roads first. The roads themselves really need to be resurfaced. Right now, we have speed dips versus speed humps in a large portion of the neighborhood. And I don't know what the actual cost is to put these in. I really hate to see the Columbia County taxpayers fund these only to have them torn back out within a year or two to resurface the entire neighborhood and do it a second time. Aside from that, right now, the current plan, I was hoping there'd be a picture, shows the speed humps going down Con Drive only. As soon as you enter the neighborhood, by my count, I believe it was 5 speed humps. Once you hit the sharp turn, come into Con, there is an immediate left in Sumter Landing Circle. We'll take that left and then take an immediate right in Sumter Landing Lane to route around those speed humps. So I got a feeling, my personal impression is, we're only going to move the problem from Con Drive, where all the small children are out playing, over to Sumter Landing Circle and Sumter Landing Lane. So if you're gonna do a portion of the neighborhood, please do the entire neighborhood.
How much do they cost, Matt?
About $1,500 per speed hump. No, lengthwise. Lengthwise. About 3.5 to 4 inches tall. So over 10 foot you rise.
No, that's what I mean. So
Right.
it's actually a 30,
Yes, 30 foot,
30-foot hump.
10-foot
Correct.
ramps.
correct,
Okay. Where are those?
everywhere. Any speed hump in the county, other than those speed bumps we have here on campus. But if it's in a neighborhood, 25-mile speed.
You were going so fast you couldn't tell.
You can't hear it. You don't realize the other 20 feet is there.
Been driving on Con Road?
Tell us,
Any questions, gentlemen?
Now, does that mean he's making a request for a study on Sumter?
You live on some,
I live in Sumter Landing Circle. I will hit every one of these speed bumps if I go home all the way down Con Drive. I
Okay.
go all the way down Con where it makes a T intersection and take a right. I have a feeling a lot of the neighborhood will now bypass Con, take an immediate left in Sumter Landing Circle as they enter the neighborhood, and then we're just moving the speed problem from one road to another part of the neighborhood.
well, staff will definitely, we have to have the study. We'll definitely do the study. If it meets, then we can bring it back to commission. Or if you choose to tell us to do the whole neighborhood, we can entertain that as well.
Okay, so your study is going by a singular road and singular road alone, not the
Right.
geographical area of that neighborhood.
Right, and I understand your concern. We see that, we do see that it changes traffic patterns.
Yes.
We understand that completely. Our policy states we have to have a request before we do it. So if you live on Sumter Landing Circle, and you're requesting us to do it, that's started the process. We will now go do that study.
The study is gonna be mute until the speed bumps
Right.
go in.
that's correct.
Right,
No, I don't wanna see any more taxpayer dollars wasted in doing a study that's not effective until after this occurs.
I completely understand.
So at that point, we just have to come back and request another study to be done.
Request it done after they're
Yeah, we
We
can,
can go ahead and put the request in.
right.
How does it work with the repaving?
With the repaving, we'll put it in the contract that we'll actually go out with our crews and actually take them up, or we'll have the contractor mill them out during the repaving, and then we'll go back and put them back in, and it happens.
Is that repaving on a schedule currently?
It is not, no, sir. Our current LMIG for this year is already set. It is not on this year, so the earliest it would happen would be next summer. The absolute earliest we'd have money for that, if it made the list.
$15,000 per speed hump at 11 speed.
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, lot different.
That's 15, almost
So
15.
16,500 there for a very short time.
Well, that's assuming it gets paved.
There's 9, so there's 9 shown on the map here. Yes, sir, so
10-5.
10-5, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Sean.
much, Sean.
Our next is Tyler Nichols.
Yes, my name's Tyler Knuckles.
Excuse me?
Yeah, everybody pronounces my last name wrong, but I'm glad that I'm following up next because I actually live on Sumter Landing Lane. That's my major concern. I used to live on Conn Drive, and the traffic was an issue. But I think we've already identified that we have to have spacing because of the speed increase. If they're too close, then people can't do it, but if they're too far apart, they try to make up time. Well, given that scenario, they're going to make up time by hanging a left and going straight down my road now. And I moved, one of the reasons I moved is because I have 3 young kids on Conn Drive that now are going to be right back in the center of that traffic. And to me, from a budgeting perspective, what you were saying, the studies have to be done. Well, after those speed bumps have been put in, well, now we've got potentially a year, maybe 2, however long it takes, that now my kids are back in the forefront of heavy traffic. That's an utmost concern to mine at this point because we've already identified there's a speeding problem. Looking at where that speed occurs, it predominantly is the residents inside Sumter Landing that are speeding, and now we're going to redirect them right by my house. And the studies and the statistics have already showed that from what I'm basically hearing you say, that that's typically what happens when you put in these type of speed bumps, speed humps, whatever you want to call them. I would be in favor of them because I know how fast people went on Conn Drive. I know that I've had to chase down neighbors before because they're hitting excess speeds. And now we're going to potentially do it the other way. But I would only be in favor of them if we do the whole neighborhood.
Well, but the delay wouldn't be that long if you do the
That's right.
study.
Right.
That's exactly right. The study, again, it's a 24-hour study, so as soon as the existing humps are in, we know there's a concern. We can do the study, that we give it a week or 2 to let the patterns kind of settle out.
Year and a half, you heard, was coming.
For the paving.
Paving.
But from a budgeting perspective, how long could it potentially take then to do the next study? And either way, we're going to increase
day?
the volume of cars going past my
Yeah.
house now.
We do the study with our own staff, so there's no budget associated with that's already accounted for, our daily operating costs. So the study is at no additional cost other than our standard operating. And then going through the process, letting your neighbors know that it's been asked for, let them have their chance to voice their opinion on the new road, let the commission vote, and they go in. It could happen in a month, it could happen in 2 months, depending on the day we do the study. So it's a very quick process.
And I guess from one of the other things I was trying to understand, though, y'all could potentially, without the study, if I heard correctly, go ahead and decide at this meeting the whole neighborhood. Is that correct?
They could. The commission can vote that way. I don't know that, I can't speak for them, but I think they'd be doing a disservice to the rest of your neighbors to make
I don't think
votes.
that's ever been done. I don't think we've ever installed speed humps without a study.
Right.
Based on our
Need the
policy.
study and plus give your neighbors opportunity to express their opinion as well before the commission made a vote.
Well, I would suggest doing the whole neighborhood as a whole then versus one individual, because we know we're going to increase traffic and speed down these other neighborhoods or other sections at this point. And we've made the statement already, too far apart, they're going to try to increase speed. We know then they're going to hang it left and they're going to increase speed to try to make up time. And, you know, from a traffic standpoint already on Conn Drive, school traffic is an issue because when it's backed up, if there's an emergency situation, fire truck, ambulance, they're not getting out during school zone hours. But at the same time, we know that it's not the school traffic immediately hitting 70-some miles an hour and making a hard right to get into the school traffic area.
Right.
Any questions for me?
Thank you, sir.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Andy Kingery.
I'm Andy Kingery, 1106 Sumter Landing Circle. This sounds to me like it's already a done deal, that no matter what everybody says, it just seems like it's about to happen. One of the things I'd like to ask you is, when I come down Old Evans Road, the speed limit on that is 45 miles an hour. There's a school zone there. Why is the speed limit on Conn Drive 25 miles an hour before it gets to the subdivision?
I'm not sure I follow your question.
Why is the speed limit on Con Drive 25 miles an hour before you get to the subdivision?
It's
Why isn't it a higher?
because it's classified as a residential street, and state law does not allow it to be higher than 30 miles an hour. That's written in state law. You cannot have higher than 30 miles per hour on a residential street. Columbia County Code then goes on to say 25 miles an hour for a residential street.
If you look down Con Drive as you're driving down it, what do you see?
Homes and a school.
No, on the left side going down Con Drive, you see this big pasture and woods. There's no houses there. When you look on the right side, there's a turn in for the school, and from there down to the subdivision, there are no houses. It's a rural area. And I'm just saying that the speed limit could be a little higher there. I'm blown away by this study of somebody going 70-plus miles an hour in a short. I used to be, when I was 18, bulletproof in a hot rod. I guess nobody does that anymore, but somebody's doing it out there. But I just think that if you put some of the speed bumps in there, and you alleviated one of my concerns, because I thought if you talk about a speed bump, you put a speed bump like is right outside here and right down by the library. That I don't have false teeth, but it almost shakes my teeth when I go over it. But I'd really like not to see the speed bumps in there. I'd really like to see putting the speed limit, putting that speed gadget, whatever you call it, sign on the right side of Con going down, and let's see if it happens one more time, then put the speed bumps up wherever you want to. I just can't see people speeding 75 miles and 70-plus miles an hour on that road. Not to say that they don't, but I'd really like to see you guys do it and put it on the right side of the road this time, and let's just see, and if it shows that, then I'm with you.
Go all the way across?
It does. It counts both directions.
Went all the way across, Andy.
Okay.
1,800 cars?
Yes, sir, 1,824 cars in the 24-hour period.
Okay. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Mr. William Thaxton?
Chairman, Commissioners, I'm William Thaxton. I live on Walden Drive, which is a road off of Sumter Landing Circle. I've had experiences where people have passed me on Con Drive, going tremendously fast. I've had them almost run over me. I try to stay at 25 because I even set my cruise control to 25. Then I set it to 30 when I'm going on out Mulligan. I've had people pass me on the curves going into Sumter Landing. I've had people pass me as I was turning into Con Drive off of Mulligan. I've had them pass me on the left at the stop sign, right? Of course, we have the school problem out there, which I know you're probably aware of, about cars backing up and we can't get by to get into the subdivision and so on. I think that's another issue, though. I'm in favor of the speed bumps, but let me offer a suggestion, because I've heard some of the other speakers here. Their concerns, I think, are legitimate about other people the people taking other routes to get in and out if the speed bumps are all the way down Con Drive. I would suggest that we, since the 74 miles an hour and the 54 miles an hour is not within the subdivision, but it's actually on Con Drive after you leave the subdivision. In other words, on that long stretch before you get to the first curve. That's the problem area. And as a compromise, I think speed bumps in that area would be appropriate. Okay? But within the subdivision, no, I don't agree to that. Okay? I mean, I'm not in favor of that, let's put it that way. Because you're almost forced to go 25 miles an hour or whatever within the subdivision because there's cars parked on the side of the road, okay? You have to go around them. There's kids out there playing all the time. And I think most people respect that within the subdivision. Where the problem comes in is out there on Con Drive as it goes out to Mullican Road. Any questions?
What options are there to not extend it into?
Steve, I'm not sure. Do you know where the actual counter was placed?
Placed in the neighborhood of the school driveway.
So it was placed up near the Mulligan Road.
Yeah, I don't think our policy does not really address up. It's not like we'll eventually see a speed problem through that area. Anything on the side after we get the speed on drive area, we can look at pattern that's done after that. If you want to cut it short, I'm fine with that.
I would.
But it's too much data out there. Late 70s, early 80s. A lot of data out there.
That's where the speed bump should be, out there on that long stretch on Pond Drive, not within the subdivision. Because we have kids, we have cars parked on each side of the road, and that keeps us down right there. And one of the persons talked about the humps and the speed dips in the road. Keeps us down too.
But Mr. Thaxton, the potential for danger is much higher on the residential part than it is out on the open road. Because you have more children concentrated there where the houses are.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cross?
The potential for danger of someone getting hit is greater in the neighborhood section than it is out on that clear stretch.
That's not where they're doing 75 miles an hour, or even 54 miles an hour that I know of.
But I would still say that there's probably some problems within the neighborhood itself too.
Okay. Well, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we'll take this up just a little bit later in the meeting. Gentlemen, now we go to our consent agenda. These are items that's been through the proper committee and received the necessary 3 votes to be put on consent. If you're satisfied with this list, we will take a motion to approve all of these as one vote.
Second.
Any items needing any further discussion? All in favor? Well, now to our debate agenda. I move we move to Vice Chair Duncan.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint Marlena Bargeron to the Keep Columbia County Beautiful Board for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2017.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Resolution 17-001 surplus of county property to retired law enforcement officers.
Second. Mr. Johnson, this is allowing long-term police officers to maintain their weapon as well as their badge?
It is, Mr. Chairman. It's a question we had from the sheriff. It falls in line with a House resolution that was passed in 2004, the Law Enforcement Safety Act, which allowed retired law enforcement officers to carry service weapons nationwide with the proper credentials and the proper training. And the sheriff just asked that we be able to do that. It's going to require us to surplus that property and then allow that particular peace officer with 20-plus years of service to be able to retain it. Staff feels comfortable with the recommendation. As you know, I retired from the state and was able to do the same thing. The state offered me my service weapon and badge as a result of my service, and I just think it's a good policy and it's something that the sheriff would like to do.
Well, when we travel and you act as my chauffeur, secretary, and bodyguard, I feel much better that you've got your service weapon.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't aware this was something we weren't doing.
No, we never allowed them to retain the actual service weapon themselves. I think at times they would retain a badge, but typically that was a badge that they bought themselves. But this would be more of a ceremonial type thing. But I do feel more comfortable about it since Congress did pass the legislation allowing for retired law enforcement officers to carry. This gives them a means in which to do that.
And this was brought forth, I believe, by the sheriff's number one man, Lou Chimillo, retiring.
That's right. Chief Chimillo will be retiring after 2 or 3 years of service, and made the request, and we just thought that it was a good time to start it, and rather than just doing it for one individual case, we feel like it's a fitting thing to do for all of our retired law enforcement officers, and we have the resolution that depicts that.
But also, the sheriff could deny that in this ordinance, is that correct? I doubt they'd
Yes,
be
sir.
there for 20 years.
Commissioner Richardson, we did, but I think there may be situations where even after 20 years of service, if the sheriff feels like the person retiring is unstable, maybe there's some kind of medical retirement or some other reason that they retire or leave. We did leave it at the sheriff's discretion as to whether or not he wanted to pass on that weapon and badge, and then obviously credentials that go along with it.
Further comments? All in favor? Okay, next.
Chairman, I make a motion to accept the limited warranty deed from Columbia County Development Authority for the property located at 212 Partnership Drive.
Second.
And sadly, this is the case of our hotel there adjacent to the exhibition hall not coming to fruition.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, and I believe it was actually in the original documents that if that particular project didn't go forward, that the Development Authority would transfer the land back to the county, and we will now hold on to it and see if we can market it another way or to another firm later on, working with our Development Authority again.
Other questions? All in favor? Moving on to Commissioner Richardson.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the major PUD revision for tax map 072 and parcel 060F with the condition enumerated in the January 5th, 2017 Planning Commission report.
And I believe to Commissioner Allen's delight, this is to allow massage parlors as permitted usage.
That's correct.
I think what this is, Mr. Chairman, this is a situation where a salon is relocated that had a licensed massage therapist that's very reputable in the community, and because of our new zoning, was not allowed to move into the new location with the salon. So I think staff was sympathetic to that and was hoping that we could get that changed. I think the one issue that the Planning Commission had would be that this be the only massage therapist that be allowed to locate there in this PUD revision, and I think the applicant's fine with that.
Okay. Anything further? All in favor? Before we get to this next item, Mr. Richardson, I'd like to make an inquiry of our county attorney. We have a ordinance pertaining to speed humps. We've got a process we go through, and as far as you know, Mr. Slaughter, this process was followed according to the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Now, do we have any liability or any chance of a backlash for not following our own ordinance and putting in these speed humps?
You have discretion whether to allow them. As far as if you decide not to, and there's an accident that happens, I can't say that you wouldn't be sued, but I think that we'd have.
But by being told that there is a danger according to our rules, and we fail to take action, that does open up a window.
It definitely opens up the door for a lawsuit, that's for sure. And whether you win or not, it's still a lawsuit.
All right, thank you. Mr. Richardson.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve installing 9 speed humps on Con Drive.
Second.
A motion and a second. We have any further discussion of this item? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Next item.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of Resolution 16-1259 to establish Streetlight District 416F for Bartram Trail Section 9 and authorize Georgia Power to proceed with installing per their proposal.
Discussion? All in favor? I would like to encourage staff, once these are installed, that we monitor immediately the circle around these so that these other residents are not exposed any more length of time to these conditions than absolutely necessary.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Driver, no additional legal matters, or no illegal matters, other?
There are no legal matters.
Gentlemen, we have some personal and property items to take up. With your permission, we'll move directly to those. Vice Chair Duncan.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve amending the contract with Ashley Haynes from part-time to full-time at an annual rate of $37,440 to start at the next pay period.
I'll second.
Any discussion of this item? All in favor? Commissioner Richardson?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve $500 to Christ the King Lutheran Church of Evans, Georgia, Inc., tax map 078154, to obtain right-of-way for the Evans to Locks Road multi-use sidewalk project.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve purchasing partial 078F37 from Eula W. Weedle in the amount of $220,000 to obtain right-of-way for the TIA project 250600 Flowing Wells Road widening.
Second.
I think you missed a 7, and I think on this one, we really want to make sure we, 078F377.
And it is Eula W. Weddle.
You're not related, right?
No.
Did we, okay, you agree to those changes in a
Yes, sir.
second? Oh, did we find this lady someplace to live, or is she okay now?
She, the price she agreed to was in lieu of us having to do all the other stuff. So this is above fair market value to cover her expenses, but we are now made whole with her with this deal.
But has her family or daughter, whoever it was, got a place for her to go?
I believe so, yes, sir.
No, this has been a struggle for Commissioner Allen with someone being removed from their homestead that very attached to it, but it's part of the process sometimes. Any further comments? All in favor? We have our anti-eminent domain reluctant vote over there. I'd like to apologize to Nancy Bobbitt. I didn't see you sitting there to start with, but we have a representative here from Johnny Isaacson's office. I imagine he's getting ready for the inauguration come Friday. Are you going up? No. Be glad to stay away, huh? Again, welcome to the meeting of the commission. Thank you for being here. One last word about speed humps. Everybody up here hates them. We talk about it all the time. But the fact of the matter is that they work. And it's a shame that you have to do it, but we don't know that our process is the best. We don't know that it couldn't be perfected, but they do work, and we talk about it continually when these items come up. There should be a better way, but we have not found it. Mr. Johnson's been on the tube about getting more scrutiny as far as writing tickets time to time, but a speed hump is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week deputy sitting there, and it's hard to beat that. You can't put enough people out there as enforcement to do the job that speed humps will do. But I understand the objection and the anxiety about them. Feel the same way, but they do work. Gentlemen, is any other business to come, any other comments to come in this meeting? Any other business? Would our eminent domain expert like to make a motion?
Make the motion, we adjourn.
I will second that, sir.
Any discussion? All in favor? We are adjourned.
Where is Eulalia going?
I don't know, I mean, she basically said,
So we didn't buy her a house, we just gave her